Yeah. So, what are your parents watching in the background?
They're watching some Chinese drama, or I'm not
What the?
really sure. I don't really understand Chinese, so
If
I'm not.
dude, we're in the same boat. We're fucking brothers. You know that.
Yeah, I realize we're kind of opposite side. Well, I not opposite sides, but different countries, same situation.
My God, was it? We're brothers from another mother.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the funny thing is, I talked to a lot of Asian folks, and the stories just start sounding really similar after a while. You know?
Tell me about. I'm like going. Are you sure we didn't have the same parents? Did your mum hit you with a slipper? Yep. Okay. Cool. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Did you run? Did you own a takeaway? Yeah. Cool. Okay. Right. Okay. There. Yeah. I
Yeah,
get that.
it's kind of funny because I actually wouldn't mind if my parents did have to take away. That would be cool. But my parents had an laundromat, so you know,
Oh, it was a film based on your life called Everything Everywhere and All at Once.
that was very eerie watching that because it's like I got flashbacks. Eh, Except my folks didn't live next to the or above the laundromat, not like Bob's Burgers. So
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hello everybody, this is Talk About Podcast, a weekly podcast talking about cosplay, Comic-Con and everything else. I'm your host Eddie, and this week we're going to be talking about cosplay in America. Not the actual cosplay in America, but a person called Cosplay America. Now, who's the best person we can talk about cosplay in America? Why not? Why not have the person who owns it? Welcome, joining us on the podcast is Ejen. Welcome, Ejen. Woo!
with the hand clap.
Hand gloves, hand gloves, hand gloves. And the crowd goes wild.
The crowd goes silent, maybe.
Hey, look, you are known in America. You are you're as known as, is it DJ Tam? Have I got that right? No, DT Jam. DT Jam. That's
Yeah,
it. Sorry.
he's
Oh
actually
man.
cosplaying America. I'm just the backup.
No, I'm cosplaying America in the UK.
We got it this one time. Did we not about like switching
But we
roles or
did try to do
something?
that. We'll go over that story one of these days and things like that. Um, just to explain to the audience what we're doing. So I said last year I was going to set up a load of interviews with a load of people in the cosplay community. I failed really badly because the people I asked, they said they didn't reply back or said no, and I went, oh, okay then, and then I didn't went, oh no, go back to my corner, go back to sleep, that'll do. And I thought I'll revive this thing, and I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to find people to talk to, but I do love to find people who I know and respect who respect in the cosplay community, and just love to talk to them about their cosplay. I kind of want to call this this feature called Cosplay is Live. Similar to how Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso goes, football is live. God, I love that. Do you watch Ted Lasso, Ejen?
No, actually, I have not. I've heard about it, but I
Oh,
never.
it's a great show about football, but not about football. You'll understand if you ever watch it. So, yeah, we'll talk about this after the podcast, so you can get to watch it. So yes, this is my interview segment of the podcast. So I thought I'd contact Ejen because I have great respect for him. He has done something that I don't think anyone else that I really know, maybe Kamui, that she's done this, but you're probably well known for bringing out a cosplay book, not just one, not just two, but you're on your third one now.
I'm working on it. It's
Yeah, working on it. So yeah, we'll talk about the book in a minute, but before we get into that, and I always do just a welfare check here. So, Ejen, how have you been? How's the last 7 days for you?
it's been okay. I've been dealing with my sister's kids, so it's kind of fun and kind of wow. You just realize how much energy the young ones have.
Oh my goodness, my nephew, he's a bloody tearaway. I love him to bits. He he does the stupidest but the funniest thing in the right. So over Christmas,
Yeah.
he was telling everyone this joke, which was, Ejen, what do you call a fake noodle?
I have no idea. What do you call a fake noodle?
Impasta.
Oh, kids jokes.
Now, now it was half funny the first time around. He would repeat that either to you 20 seconds later
Yes.
or later in the evening,
Yes.
or repeat it to the person next to me.
Yes. Yes. My niece
Like,
looked exactly the same thing. I'm just like, okay, you used tires as a joke already. Can we just move on?
just back it up a little bit. Get you no different way. Oh, okay then.
It doesn't happen. They just,
I
and
know.
then I have three nieces, so one of them would actually start copying the other one, and I'm just like, yeah, she just said that, but they think it's hilarious. So,
Oh, absolutely. Well, the other joke he's been saying is, what do you call a person with a spade on his head?
I have no idea.
Doug.
Wait, what? I didn't get that one.
As in a spade dug up, Doug.
Oh, okay. I feel like a.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not made for this at all.
Do you want to go back to bed? Shall we just end the podcast here? Cheers, guys. See you later. Oh my goodness. But I mean, do you enjoy looking after your nieces?
I do, but at the same time, I don't, because they will not. Look, they're tied to their devices. They're at such a young age. They should be like playing with the dog, just doing other stuff. And I'm trying to encourage them to be more, to do something else besides stare at their screen.
Yeah, but to be fair, if they're playing with their devices, at least they're not going out vandalizing, robbing, super malls and things like that, taking drugs. I'm just saying, playing devil's advocate type of thing. Probably not the great example I've given in my life, but yes, that's how I see life.
So I'm trying to think of my 5-year-old niece, how like robbing people and doing drugs and stuff. And it's actually kind of
so. Well, I can just imagine in my head the calling card with me. Before I leave, I want to tell you one thing. What do you call a fake noodle? Impasta. Bye. And runs off.
Do you actually I don't know about you, but I try to predict like how my niece would turn out. Like, she's gonna turn out to be like the most studious one. Stuff like that.
No, I don't want to like.
Impose.
I want to see. It's called Ethan, my nephew. I want to see Ethan become who he wants to be, and I envision him to have such a good future, such a bright future. I think he's got loving parents. He's very talkative, very chatty. He's very. I'm glad he's an extrovert, not an introvert type of character. But I do tease him by saying he's such a mummy's boy. He really does love his mum a lot, but I won't take that away from him. I shouldn't say that in a nasty way. I say it in an endearing, loving way. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. But anything else in the last 7 days? Are you still doing you're still going to school?
Yeah, I'm still. I should be done by end of summer.
Under summer. Oh, so, excellent.
We'll see what happens. Try to find a remote job.
Oh god! Oh yeah, that's the rage nowadays. The remote job.
Well, it kind of helps out in my situation. Also helps out work. Well, we can talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, so as I introduced Ejen at the beginning of the top of the show. Is it a show? Is this a show or podcast?
I think it's just two people rambling on.
You're so right.
This is texting each other.
Oh man, I'm trying to think how we first met, how we first knew each other. Is this must have been a Twitter thing?
Okay. So when I went to London, I already knew you, or I knew of you.
Yeah.
So we were already connected before, and you were at New York Comic Con before, and I think.
But no. I remember. I think this is how it happened. We both know each other from Twitter, and then you came over to the UK, and I said, "Look, I don't know who anyone is. Can we just hook up for a little bit?" I went, "Yeah, sure." That's how I remember. I think that was like 2015 or something like that.
That's probably right. I think it's 2014.
Yeah. Because I remember meeting you here in the UK before I met you in New York Comic Con.
That's right. We did meet each other. Like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't, I didn't know who you were. I just thought, why is this guy like want to meet up with me? I'm just an idiot. Why would anyone want to meet up with me? And the fact that you reached out and say, hey, dude, I like what you do. Let's hang out. I'm going, oh my god, I could love this guy. So, all right, so let's really bring it back to the beginning. Really back to the beginning. What is in the start of it, what was Cosplay in America for you? What were you trying to achieve with Cosplay in America? Why did you pick that name as well?
You know what? I didn't really think too much of the name. It just kind of rolled off the tongue. I mean, cosplay in America, it's kind of
Yeah.
very simple. You don't have to
Mm.
really think about it. So in 2008, Anime Expo, which is the largest anime convention in the United States, moved to downtown Los Angeles, which is about 15 minutes maybe 10 minutes from my apartment by subway. And
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, oh, it's Anime Expo. And it's now, for some reason, now I knew about Anime Expo for years, but I, for some reason, never went to it, even when it was in Anaheim or Long Beach, which is only half an hour away, which isn't even that far. But the moment we moved to downtown LA, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go show up and I'm going to bring my lights because there's cosplayers there. So,
so you were in a sense an established photographer before you came into the cosplay community.
I worked in the photography field for I think 5 years before, 6 years.
Okay.
So I kind of already knew what I was doing. I just wanted to photograph cosplayers, but I wanted to photograph them with a backdrop because I think I usually see how cosplay the hall shots basically where there's people in the background, and so I thought, gee, if I just bring a little background paper, I can just put them in there, and then they'll look like a studio shot.
Yeah.
So. And Anime Expo was really small at that. Well, not really small, but it was much smaller than it was nowadays. So it was very easy to set up and just, shoot. Now it's pretty ridiculous.
Oh god, yeah. I can only imagine you've got people taking like light stands, loads of gel lights. Like some can have backgrounds. They're sandbagging so that it doesn't move the lights. I'm trying to remember how I saw this in New York Comic Con, like because I remember,
yeah.
For anyone who's been to New York Comic Con or know the Javits Center, there's an underpass bit, and it's covered. It's covered over, but there's like a, I wouldn't say corrugated, but just like it's got a pattern to this metal wall, and people just shooting there all day with the lights, different flash going on. And oh my goodness! And I'm like, everyone knows how much I hate the grey walls in the Excel. I probably would equally hate this metal wall because it's such a static, boring wall. Once or twice is fine, not every fucking photo. Anyway, this is not about me. This is not about me. Okay, so what?
So do you require the Katsucon pictures where they're always shooting against the background of Katsucon?
Not really, because I think you can get different backgrounds every so often. But like, I think if I turned up to Katsucon now, next year, because it's already elapsed. If I went next year, I bet you there'll be oh, I know those doors, I know the pagoda, I know this, and I know that. So I bet you I can, I'll know the key points of the venue without really looking out and seeking it. But I also know that everyone's seeking those doors, that pagoda, and the the over balcony shot as well.
Anyway, going?
Oh no, that was Dragon Con you invited me to. Generally I'd love to go to Katsucon one of these years, but it's about timing and money than anything else. So we'll see.
Okay, you show up, I'll show up.
You better be my roommate then. What was I going to say? So I've got to ask this as a fellow photographer to another fellow photographer. What camera did you use then, or are you using now?
It was a Canon 5D Mark II.
Oh,
it's kind of like an at this point.
Dude, we can be friends for life. From one Canon user to another Canon user. Oh, got it.
Here's the thing that I'm really fascinated about. For some reason, I really like the image off the 2 versus the later models. There's something
Oh,
about it.
really?
Yeah, there's like I have the R. Is it the R? The mirrorless camera.
Yeah. Oh,
You
I'm
know,
close to getting one of those, but yeah.
it I like it, but part of the time I like to go back to the 2 because it's so familiar to me. It's like an
Mm,
old friend. Like, oh, it's the old it's
yeah.
here again. Then you know how everything
No, some.
works. You don't have to think about
Oh,
anything.
absolutely. Like if I might be getting one of the mirrorless cameras soon, as long as it's full frame. And I do think myself. I think like you. It's like I'm going to miss using my. I think I've got the 5D, the original 5D. No, 6D. I've got the original 6D. Um, yeah, I'm going to miss that so much. Anyway, I just want to ask that quickly question about the photography, but so you talked about Anime Expo being near you, but what was the thing about cosplay itself that drew you to it? What why was that your drug of choice?
Oh, I like the fact that it was, well, I saw a lot of different people all enjoying cosplay, and the fact that there was something uniting us just because, there's just so much stuff out there and people are divided and so forth. But then when you go to a convention, everybody seems to be on the same page. And it doesn't seem to
Mm,
matter like your level of craftsmanship, your race, what you do for a living, how old you are. It was just like an equalizer. Like we're here to
mm,
enjoy life. So
yeah.
really,
Uh,
it back to the original question. The Cosplay America thing. It started as a photo project more than anything
Mm,
else, and the book idea was just because at that time social media didn't really exist. I mean, there was MySpace, so that did exist, and there was Facebook, but it wasn't really as
yeah.
broad as it is. So at that time period, it was books. It was like traditional media, analog stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And we were talking this off air. It's like I was saying to Ejen, this is his legacy, and we'll talk about his legacy in a minute. But I love the idea that you've got this book out that will be forever be in the domain, because I think we talked in a previous podcast, like you've got books in the library. All right, people may say, "Oh, libraries don't exist anymore in the future" or whatever. It's like, no, I bet you books will always be around in
Mm-hmm.
one form or another,
Yep.
and your book will be in a library beyond us. But I hate. Sorry, don't want to sound morbid. I don't want to like cast
Are you
cast a
casting me a
dark shadow
spell?
over.
Are you casting a spell on me? Yeah.
Do I look like Nina Simone? No, I'm not. Is it
With the
Nina Simone who sings
role.
that? Is it Nina Simone who sings that song?
Yes,
I put a spell on you.
but you're
Anyway.
that's first of all, I don't expect many people to know who Nina Simone is.
Oh, I'm sure there's enough. I bet you at least one person on this podcast listening, besides me and you, will go, I know who Nina Simone. And if you are that person, at me on Twitter, at Food and Cosplay, and just tell me I know Nina Simone. That's all I need to hear. All right. If you don't have Twitter, fine. You can do it. DM me on Instagram. I just want one person to validate me that someone knows Nina Simone. All right. That's all I want. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
because the
yeah.
rumor
Go on.
really is I actually saw Nina Simone in concert.
No way.
I did, but that's one of the best concerts I've ever seen because
Oh,
I mean I was a kind of a weird kid. I was into Frank Sinatra and Nina Simone,
that's fine.
so I was like in college. I almost went to Vegas just to go see Frank Sinatra, but
Mm,
I was kind of young and I didn't really have. I think it was 300, $400 a ticket, and when
mm.
you're young person, 300, $400 a ticket is like
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
that's a lot of money. A lot of
yeah,
money.
it's not
Anyway,
money.
well, yeah, let's get back to the cosplay and
Oh
all
yeah,
that,
okay,
and,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you as a brand. So I love this. So was this photo project idea from the first moment you walked onto Anime Expo, or was it something that grew? This idea grew later on.
It grew later on. I just want to have fun the first time. You know.
Oh, that's
So the idea was actually so okay. So I used to have an office in downtown LA, and on the first floor
mm,
there was a small like an art bookstore, and I would go there
mm,
just every other day just to look through, on a coffee break, just to look through books. And the
Mm.
guy basically said something along the line of, "Why don't we work together on a book? You print of that, you shoot, edit, put it together, and I'll print it." So
So
there was like a partner, and I guess a partner,
that
we could say. What?
that sounds like to me the analog version of someone DMing you a request by saying, "Hey, I'm a jewelry owner. We can partner up, and if I give you the jewelry, you will promote it for me." Or I'm a pet dog owner store. Can you promote my stuff? Like this is
It
like if
always,
someone said to me, yeah, if someone said to me, "Oh, you and me, let's go do a book." Like I'll go, "Fuck off! What the hell do you know about making a book?" So I mean, did you know this person, or was it something? Again,
well, he's
did it sound?
he's the
I was
owner
going to
of
say,
a bookstore, and he is in the publishing business.
mm,
So okay. Well, let me tell you the whole story. Then you can.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So we were going to divide it in half. The problem was after I spent my money and shot the book and edited it together, I couldn't get a hold of him because he had moved by then back to the
oh
Midwest.
no,
So I got to kind of stuck. Well, okay, this is a time period when this is around 2009 when the economy was still going through that housing crisis.
mm,
So I can kind of see what would happen. Like he probably thought, oh, okay, I'll just say yes. He'll probably not do anything. Then when it's time to come pony up, he just didn't have the funds, or maybe he was so busy with his life because he just moved back to the Midwest.
mm,
Anyways, long story short, he never got. I actually never saw him again. And I looked him up. I found because I wanted to kind of say, hey, I made the book despite everything
mm.
that happened. But it
All
turned out
right.
that he passed away like 2 years ago.
Oh
So
no! So he doesn't know that you've
done.
has made a successful book.
No, he hasn't. But the weird thing is, I credit him in a way to pushing because having somebody kind of with you can
Mm,
encourage you to do certain things, and so he definitely encouraged me to do cosplay in America. So
mm.
in a weird way, without him, that probably wouldn't have gone all the way. So
Okay then. That's
so,
good.
but okay, so he left the whole project. So I had the trouble with like, okay, what do I do now? Do I just go ahead and give up
Mm,
because I don't know anything about the publishing world, or should I just go ahead and
mm.
dump more money into it? So I was stupid. I dumped more money into it. I opened up some equity cards.
So, but what made you keep going then? Because I think most people would just go, "Do you know what? The project's dead. There's no point in putting my photos in a book. Why keep going?"
Because you know what? I spent all my life working for other people. Like,
Mm,
when you're a photographer, you're working for the client. When you're a photo assistant, you work for a photographer. Like, all I do is work for other
mm,
people. And this was like the first time in my life that I had my own project that I was kind of in control of,
mm.
and it's kind of addictive. It's like your own project. And so I wasn't going to give that up. So
Oh, okay then. That's very interesting. I don't think I knew that about you. That this is something that like you said, you have control over. This is all you. This is literally your style over this, your own personality in a sense into this book. Because the book itself is not it's not just a photo book per se. It's got passages in it that talks about each person's journey in the cosplay world. Am I got that right?
actually, that's the new book. Everybody gets like a page. The first book, some people got a chance to express themselves, but
Mm,
it was more of a photo book in the first because I was a photographer. But the
mm.
Cosplay America has changed over the years. It's turned into more about stories versus images, you know?
Oh, 100%, and we'll talk about those stories. And I'm going to make a public announcement about how much I adore you. But no, but oh, that's good. And because you've also put it through Kickstarter as well. The second book, at least, wasn't it?
Yes. So, and that's the third one too. Through
Oh,
Kickstarter.
you better send me the link so I can help promote it for you. All right. Um, but no, how nerve wracking is to. So, what made you hang on? Let's take it back a step before we talk about the Kickstarter. Uh, End of the first book, you've published it. It's a huge, in your mind, a huge success.
Mhm.
What made you what? And I'm assuming a lot of stress came out of that, a lot of like sleepless nights. But seeing the book out there, and like I said, the book's in the library. You're happy, you're proud. That's right, that's good. What made you go? Do you know what? All that stress, all that money risk. Do you know what? I'm going to go again. What made you? What made you think
Oh,
making a
that's
second book was a great?
okay. Well, so the first book was only from 5 different conventions, and
Mm,
it is kind of doesn't make much sense to say cosplay in America. You only went to 5 places, but if you went to
mm,
20 places over the course of 3 years, then that sounds more like cosplay in America. So I
mm,
took it as a chance to go to cities I've never been to and
yeah.
to do so. And everybody kept pushing me for a second book. Every time I go somewhere, they'll be like, "Where's book two? Where's book two?" I'm like, I'm still trying to grab book one. You know, it took 3 years to get out the first book. So
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me this. Absolutely. It's good that people, recognize that. I mean, do people stop you once the book came out? Did people stop you? And go, dude, that book, I fucking love it. I've got it in my own home. Did anyone like do that to you when you when you bumped into them at Comic Con?
um, I can't remember. I'm sure this happened. So
I
let me explain. So when you're trying to run around the country and shooting a book while also selling a book, while also like juggling jobs, like real life jobs,
mm,
everything becomes really fuzzy. So those 20 cities I went to, they become kind of like a big fuzz in my head. So everything between 2012 to 2015, it's kind of a big
uh,
blurb.
big blur. I'm sure people did come up to you and said, "Oh my god, I love the book. Thank you very much," and they thanked you and all that. Um, But as we mentioned earlier, you've not just been in America. You've been around Europe, haven't you? I know at least London.
No, just London so far.
Oh, does it sound like dude? You could just come around. We should go. Do you know what? When we both retire from our respective cosplay blogs, we should just tour Europe. You and me, hand in hand. Hang on, this sounds like a romantic get to, um half scrap that. Let's not just hand in hand, but let's go together round Europe. We'll go to Paris. We'll take a trip to the Eiffel Tower. We'll go to Venice. We'll take a. Hang on, I'm still describing a romantic night. Damn it, Jesus. And I spelled Jesus with a G, not a J. Oh, so what made you come to the UK then for the Comic Con? Because I don't want to damn the UK scene compared to the US scene, but the US scene is massive. It's huge compared to the UK. I mean, when you came to the UK, was there a bit of a culture shock for you?
Actually, I enjoy London a lot more than. Okay, here's the reason why. So you are basically like half an hour
Oh,
flight from the rest of Europe. You
yeah.
get like the whole European scene.
Mm,
In America, you just get Americans, Canadians, and Mexicans, and that's about it. You don't get anybody else because America's so
yeah.
big. It's like you fly 5 hours. You might be in the same state still. You fly 5 hours, and you're neck of the woods. You're in,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
We're in Eastern Europe. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I totally get that. Yeah, because we do get some Europeans to come into to London, and I find that amazing that people would do that. Even though I've gone to other European Comic Cons and don't think that's weird. I don't know why. Where me going to a Comic Con elsewhere outside of UK is normal, whereas non UK cosplayers come to London or whatever a place in the UK, and it's weird. But yeah, so did you know much about the London scene, or did you just
Nope.
like, do you know what?
I knew I was going to show up, and I had such a great time. I mean,
Hmm.
you guys are so friendly and so happy to go get drinks. Like,
Oh god,
what that? I
oh
mean, you
god, I
never
remember.
really have that. It's not the same thing in America.
Yeah.
Like at 4 o'clock, let's just go to the Fox and get.
Oh,
It's just like,
oh god.
You know, it.
Was it 2019 or 18? We were like all in the Novotel.
I think I was 17.
Oh, was it 17? All right. Was it you, me? I know Ron was there. Ron with two ends because he kept saying that. Uh, uh, was it? It was DT
Yeah, he
Jam.
was there.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was oh, was it my fifth actually, rather than your fifth? I think Chapman basically it was just an Asian crew there, just all the Asians just drinking together, and it was not a pretty sight. Oh Jesus Christ! The Asian flush that
Yeah,
night was epic. Yeah, I think we all looked at an alcohol and got drunk. I think that's what happened. I know. I love that you came to the UK. I love that you came and seek me out. I don't. I always said I'm a small fish in a big sea of like major mega famous cosplayers and photographers. I love to speak to what's his real name? DT Jam.
David.
David. That's it. I knew it. I haven't. And I'd love to get him on this podcast and chat to him about it. I think I said that last time we spoke. But no, I think what he does is amazing because what you do sometimes on social media is like you go scour the internet. Well, I'm assuming you scour the internet to get like Comic Con dates and go, hey, these are the Comic Cons this happening this weekend. You know, go check it out. I was like, why do you do that? Because I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to down what you do, but I mean, I'm sure people would know that there is a Comic Con around the corner if they're unaware of it.
No, I mean, there's so many conventions out there that not everybody knows what everything is. And so I figured it'd be helpful to just say, hey, this is in your town, you know? I kind of actually pulled back from doing that. I've been slowly trying to figure out what Cosplay America, because I feel like it's been growing with me, and so it's changing again into a werewolf, you know?
No, I literally am. I'm in the same predicament as you. This feels like it's not an interview anymore. This feels like our midlife crisis. Going, what do we do with our brands now? Oh my goodness. No, but I love the things that you've like the small things you do for your brand, for what you do for the community. I mean, the one thing I have to mention is the stories you do, which was on your main website, but you've now moved back to Tumblr. Those stories.
Those are still there. There's kind of two sites now. There's like the main site, and there's like the Tumblr site.
So, okay then. Okay.
I'm trying to actually hire writers now to dig deeper into like more historical aspects of cosplay.
Ejen, from the bottom of my heart, good luck.
It's
no, but again, was the cosplay stories that you do that are on the website and as well as the on Tumblr? Did that come from the photo project that you mentioned right at the beginning?
Yeah. So when I took the pictures back in 2009, 2010, 2011, 20, around there, sometimes I would interview them and what do you call it? Basically, I would get their stories, but the one. It kind of took off around 2016 was when I started reaching out to cosplayers that I didn't photograph, like I found online on Instagram, and getting their stories through, by DMing them. So the first one was the Mystique cosplayer in New York Comic Con in 2016.
Did she do half and half?
Yes.
I know who that is. I met her, but I did not meet her as Mystique. She did. She was one half of the MythBusters team. I say one half. It was actually. Yeah, she was. She did. She did. I can't remember if it was Adam or Jamie, but there was also Buster as well. Someone dressed up as Buster, and I fucking loved it. I would have loved to have seen that Mystique cosplay because I think that blew up New York Comic Con that year. That was.
Yeah.
Everyone was. Clamoring over her for her cosplay. Sorry, I'm interrupting. You carry on.
No, I saw an image on Instagram, so I thought, well, why don't I just reach out to her on her DM and just see if she'll answer? And she actually answered. So
hang on. Are you telling me you reach out to these cosplayers and they go, yeah, that's fine? When I reach out to cosplayers, they go, no, don't want to know you, goodbye, no.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're,
Sometimes a lot of people don't know who I am because I could tell because it takes some time to kind of respond in a way, and I know they're just checking out like my profile, all my links and everything,
mm,
you know.
no,
So,
I know, I totally understand that. I totally understand that. Um,
but
yeah,
one of the things I do is I also look at smaller conventions. So I don't
mm,
always follow like the Dragon Cons. I also go to smaller ones, like local ones, and I search through Instagram because you can never
mm.
tell what you'll find.
Okay, on either after a given Comic Con or given week, how many people do you contact to say, "Hey, would you mind talking about your cosplay journey?" type of thing?
That really depends on how much time I have available.
Average. Give me an average number.
Don't know, 10-ish.
Oh, okay.
It's
I assumed in my head I thought it'd be like 50.
no. I'm kind of picky about who I pick.
Mm,
I try to find something that is unique, that stands out, that isn't commonly seen. But it's also
mm,
hard because at the same time, everybody has their own story, and you can't tell their story by what they're wearing. You know,
yeah.
so
No. Yeah.
yeah. So
No. No. I just love that you do that because I think I always believe everyone's got a story. Everyone's got um a journey that they went through to build this cosplay. Even if it's buying it, there's a journey behind everything. There's a like you said right at the beginning, Comic Con or cosplay has such a commonality. It just you put that your current life on hold to have like half a day of just something completely different, and we all there for the same reason. I think you're right about that, but the journey you get there to get to that Comic Con, it's brilliant that you are documenting that for different people. And for about 2-3 years now, I mean, in inverted commas, I've stolen that feature off you and just copy and paste it onto my website with permission,
you did? What
and
permission? I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding.
don't do this, don't do this to me.
I'm kidding,
Um,
man.
I know. And I just love that you're documenting these stories because they are, again, that's in a sense that's their small legacy that they're leaving behind, that footprint in Comic Con history. And you know, you may argue, oh, not many people are gonna read it or see it, so, but there will be at least one person will read that and they'll be inspired by it. You know, um, I, my website, shares it and retweets every so often. Like you're the originator of it. You know, between us, hopefully we'll reach to a wide audience, but for these cosplayers, and yeah, it's amazing how that you do this for people. I mean, do you get a thrill about sharing someone else's story about their cosplay journey?
I just want to just post people's stories, and the
Mm,
older I get, the more I'm curious about the people who came before me. The
mm.
generation before me, the photographers, the cosplayers. And I'm more curious about their stories. But I also found out that the older they get, the harder it is to get a hold of them because they're more busier with their lives.
I totally get it. So, from a podcasting point of view, there are some people I'm trying to like get hold of, both either friends or people I don't know, and well, that's the only two people I know. But when you're trying to get hold of people and they oh no, I've got this, I've got dinner that day, I've not dinner, but I've got dinner at this time, or oh no, I'm going out, and can we do it another day? It is, I know what you mean. It's very hard to pin people down, especially. So when you do these interviews, do you like send them like a prompt sheet of like questions, or do you just say write what you want and I'll just copy and paste it? What do you prompt them to
Oh, okay. Yeah,
for them
sure.
to give you them story?
Usually there's a list of questions, but I feel it's kind of artificial in a way because it's very cut and dry. So
Mm.
I've been trying this new thing where I interview them for 15 minutes and I talk to them like live in person. And what I do is I get what they
Ah.
when I record it and then I get it transcribed, and
Mm.
that's how I get the story because I feel like I need to like a more of a a back and forth connection. You know,
No, no. I was literally saying this the other day to someone. I was saying like, if you message someone, sometimes you message someone that's a bit has like as a dead emotion text. Like you can read it, but you can't read the emotion that's meant to be placed onto the text. You talking to them, like you said, it's rather than giving them just a set block of questions and then receive it back. Everyone can read it, everyone can reply back to it. But sometimes hearing the emotion behind you, like, how did you get into cosplay? How did you do this? How was the reaction when you walk? You can hear, the excitement in your voice. I mean, that must give them more to bounce off when you're asking these questions to these cosplayers.
I believe so, but they run into the trouble that sometimes they don't have time. It's easier to
Mm,
write, so I give them options now. They can either write it out or they can just
mm,
talk to me for 15 minutes, and I make it
yeah.
like specifically 15 minutes because we all have busy lives, and so I don't want to take up any more time than necessary.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. This is, Matters, Nick. If I ever get
Take
back
them.
into the article writing stage, I'll probably nick your idea for that. That's brilliant. I want to talk more about Ejen himself. I want to know about a little bit more about yourself because, as much as we've been talking about cosplay in America as an entity, as a shall we say, as a personality, I don't think I really know you that well as a person. So, I mean, I'm assuming you're American-born Chinese. Sorry, just
Yeah,
sorry to
yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't want to break it to you guys who didn't know that we're both Chinese.
Yeah. Okay, so I was born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Mm,
Um, I was one of those kids who was an introvert, so I basically was into comic books and anime, from an early age. Except I didn't know it was anime in the first place because, they're cartoons to me. But
mm,
in high school, I started realizing, wait a minute, these are different cartoons. People actually die in these cartoons versus G.I.
mm.
Joe where they just shoot lasers at each other and nothing happens, you know? So,
Yeah.
so, um, I went to my first convention as a teenager. It was a comic book convention. My dad took me, and it was like an old
Mm,
school comic book convention where it's just tables of white boxes. And
yeah.
that's basically it. I don't think there was any kind of programming that I can remember.
Yeah.
So in college, I went to a convention, but I didn't get the full experience of a convention actually until AX. That's when I got the full experience.
Mm.
So I, so for a while, I kind of skated on the edge of fandom, like the whole anime comic book convention scene, but I never really fell in until '08.
Mm.
So um actually you should just ask me questions because I don't know what else to say.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think we both. I feel like we both have similar trajectories when we come to Comic Con, because I mean, so it's really nice, lovely to hear that your dad took you to Comic Con. I remember my friends at uni dragged me to a Comic Con, and I've said this story so many times on the podcast that as an Asian who did computer science, and single, it wasn't a great look to also add and attend Comic Con. So I kind of was very very reluctant to go to Comic Con, but when you go to the first Comic Con and it fits. It's part of your life. You go, that's right. I belong here.
Yep.
These are my kind of people. When you see, like, what was your first reaction when you saw your first cosplay? When you saw someone dressed up, out of the comics or out of the anime? What was your first reaction from that?
You know what? I can't remember anymore. It was so fun. Oh, I can't think about this one for a second. Because I'm kind of like old school. If it's old
Mm,
school anime, like from Robotech or something like that, I usually go crazy because it was like
mm,
my childhood, or
mm,
like City Hunter, stuff like that. Really old
yeah,
school. I actually,
yeah.
I'm curious about the UK scene because like I'm curious like what was the first convention that actually started in the UK for anime or comic books? How they cosplay,
I really don't know if I'm honest. I would love to go into that type of history one of these days, but I don't have the time to really dive deep into that. But I remember, so just to complete that story about where I went. So my first Comic Con was in Birmingham. So if
Yeah.
you imagine England as a body, you got Scotland's, not England, UK as a body, Scotland's head, Wales the body, and Cornwall's the foot. So I would have said Birmingham's around about the chest area,
Okay.
where the heart is. Um, and those those in America who doesn't know where Birmingham is, I'm assuming most UK people, if not all UK people, know where Birmingham is. It was at the NEC. Yeah, it was so different to what I experienced, and I don't think I really knew of cosplay until I went to Comic Con. That's my first impression. I don't think I knew these things. I think I knew people dressed up, but when I saw it, I kind of thought, ignorantly, I kind of thought, oh, fancy dress type of costumes. But some of these costumes were like, as you know, they tried to get close to, you know, what the comic books were, or the TV shows and the animes, things like that, or the films.
Not, not.
And yeah, I was just amazed to see so many people. I can see the love for wanting to be in cosplay, that they wanted to wear a costume, which I assumed represents them as either as personality or identity they either are or want to be, things like that. I really, I really appreciate that to see that, and I wanted to be as close to being in the cosplay community without dressing up. And I think that's why I became a photographer. Hang on, how did you reverse the interview onto me? Jesus Christ!
Magic. So you actually never cosplayed.
Oh, I've cosplayed a few times. I've mentioned that on the podcast before. Yeah, and I just thought, sorry, I should have called these podcasts Coscast. I don't know why I didn't do that, but anyway,
Write it down.
yeah, I have to write it down. Quick, write it down.
Write it down.
Yeah, someone's going to nick that idea now. I bet someone's already done it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so have you ever cosplayed then? Have you ever been tempted to cosplay?
I've cosplayed. There's 3 characters I cosplay. I started off with Marty McFly, which
right.
it is so weird because of what I have, you know. It's just kind of like a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
The second one was what's it? Panty and Stocking.
Oh God.
Geek Boy.
I was going to say neither the panty or stocking character. You're
I don't think
you're a male character. Yeah.
No, I was Geek Boy.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of it, but I don't remember seeing that character as of yet. I could be wrong, but
he's in a jumpsuit, in a green jumpsuit.
Yeah. Oh, okay, all right. And the third character?
Oh, Sato from Devil's a Part-Timer.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Okay, he dressed up as a McDonald's uniform.
I think I've seen you wear that. Actually.
It's a red one,
yeah.
It's very comfortable. I have to have comfort over everything.
Oh, I totally 100%. Well, that's good.
I've actually taken that out of. I usually cosplay in LA, but I have cosplayed in different conventions outside of California.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Oh my god. Do you enjoy cosplay, or is it something that you kind of just dabble here and there just to itch that itch, and then you're okay?
I'm okay. It's not really. I'm more of a story, archive preservation type person.
Yeah.
Like people fascinate me. People's story fascinate me. Why people do, and to me, cosplay is such a. Oh man, cosplay is kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You can use it to do a lot of different things. You know, it's not one thing; it's multiple things. I mean, you can use it to further your career, and your career doesn't have to relate to cosplay. It can be certain things like time management, maybe like making a press kit, stuff like that. You can use. Yeah, so I also like the fact that, so when I was young, I didn't know who I really was. And I spent all my 20s just trying different things, you know?
Yeah.
And I see cosplay as pretty much a safe place to explore your identity in a way, which, you usually outside of that, people look at you kind of weird if you change your hair, wear makeup, do whatever. But if you do it
Mm.
in context of cosplay, it becomes almost like, oh, it's just cosplay, you know?
No, yeah, was going to say, I bet a lot of people, no, through the eyes, through my camera lens, and seeing how my friends or people I know have, this is I don't know if I'm using this phrase correct, glow up in a cosplay scene. I think I know one person who's really found their identity.
Mhm.
I think they go by Dame Deadly, and she is amazing. I think she won't mind if I say this, but was born male, but has now identifies as female, and she does such fantastic cosplay. I love what she does, and long may she continue. So yeah, I kind of want to bring it to this still about you, but bring this 'cause I know you've mentioned this before publicly on your Twitter. I just want to give you a platform now to talk a little bit further. Um, you've recently been diagnosed with a medical condition. Would you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's youth, what's it called? YOPD, young onset Parkinson's disease, which basically
Mm,
means you get it before the age of 50. Usually, I think you get it around 70, or
mm,
it's a more later in life thing. But I think
mm,
5 to 10% of people who do get the disease are younger than 50. And I was, really shocked because I was like, "What do you mean I have this?" And I actually didn't believe my doctor or my neurologist. So I went to
yeah.
another neurologist, and he told me the same thing. And
Oh shit.
yeah, it's kind of crazy because everything kind of changed in a
Yeah.
drastic way. And I did ask my
Mm,
doctor, like, I'm not the youngest person you had to tell this to, am I? Because, I'm in my
mm.
40s. So and he's like, no, I had to talk to like a 30, I can't remember, it was 32, 33,
Oof.
young 30 something year old girl. And
Yeah.
I just like, wow. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Mm,
I don't know how to I'm still dealing with this because, I
yeah.
was diagnosed in 2019, but
Mm,
at that time period it was pretty uh minor, but over time
yeah.
it's kind of, more and more prevalent.
Mm,
Well, okay, this weird thing is, so I
yeah.
had a booth at 2019 Dallas Pan Expo Dallas, and I was right next
Mm,
to this couple who have a DeLorean. They actually
mm,
travel around the country to Comic Cons to raise money for a charity, for
yeah.
Parkinson's disease. And at that time, I didn't realize I had it, and I thought like, oh, that's kind of cool. And now in hindsight, it looks kind of like weird serendipity type,
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
like that.
No, I totally get that. I totally get that. But it's as forgive me for asking in the manner I'm about to ask, but has this, in a sense, spurred you to? Is this the reason why you're making the third book, or
No,
is
actually,
as no? I mean, are you also trying to, what's the word? Realign what's important to you now, if that makes sense.
I think 2020 made that really impressive on everybody. I think
what what's happened in 2020? God, please tell me. No, don't. Please don't tell me.
well, but the 2020 was kind of, so I found out in 2019. So by the time 2020 rolled around, I was already deep within
Mm.
myself. And so when the world burned, I was like, okay, let it burn. I'm burning too. So
Oh no.
it was just really. But you know what? It gave time for people to really figure out what they really want out of their lives.
Mm,
And it gave me time to kind of figure out like what I want out of what I'm doing,
mm,
like with Cosplay America, like
yeah,
what if I like to do and leave behind,
yeah.
because the other thing about this thing is I'm not going to die from it. It just means I just have like a not so nice quality of life towards the end. But then again,
Mm.
I don't think you do have a good quality of life towards the end.
Okay. Keep it light, Ejen. Keep it light.
This is getting kind of morbid now, but
Yeah. No,
you
it's fine.
know,
No. It's cathartic to probably talk quite frankly, quite honest sometimes. I totally get it. And again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I don't want to steer the conversation too much in a different direction. But I think it's very brave of you to tell everyone that, oh, by the way, I have this. And, there's some people who I know, not so I know, but I can imagine would not want to tell anyone about, I've got this and I've got that, for fear of being seen in a different way. I mean, did you have that fear?
I do have fear, but I can't do anything about it because my mannerisms change. So I don't act the same way as I used to, 5 years ago. But the other thing that it is like, I just want people to know that you can get this. I mean, people know you can get this much younger. Like Michael J. Fox's sample of that. But I've also heard stories of people who went to doctors after doctor trying to figure out what's wrong with them when it's actually something that was not common, but like it was basically like why spend time and money trying to figure out what it is if you could figure out what it might as well just cut the whole thing out.
Yeah. No, I think I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So just to go back a question that I asked, is the book 3 something that spurred you on because of diagnosis, or are you just doing a book 3 because it's helping you, in a sense, manage your condition? Again, I don't want to put words or thoughts in your head, but
the third book was actually shot in 2018.
All right, okay, all right.
I shot the book before I even got diagnosed. So,
all right.
Yeah, so the book is getting out because it's been sitting on my hard drive for almost 5 years now, and I figured it was time to get it out. And the truth of the matter is, at some point, I can't keep up with going to conventions because of my condition. So I'm going to retreat back into like the online thing that I do. And I kind of want to leave, like, I don't want to say legacy. That just sounds kind of too, I just want to leave something behind, basically.
I do you know what I said? I said this off in the green room with Ejen, and I'll repeat it again. I've in my head, I think I was having this chat with a friend about legacy. I can't remember how it came about, but I said, I don't want my legacy of people to remember me that I was this mad dash extroverted photographer, that rolled around the floor or got into silly positions, said stupid things, or said the stupidest, almost crass jokes. I know that's me. I know that's me, but that's not the legacy I want to leave behind. The legacy I want to leave behind is that I want people to remember me that I was a decent photographer. I was kind to everyone. I gave everyone respect. And when everyone else said no about, them taking their picture, I was the one that said yes. I kind of want to be remembered for the hard work I put in. Like these podcasts I'm doing, I like to think this is part of my legacy as well. It's like I'm trying to talk about subjects that people either refuse to talk about or don't really talk about, or they're not talking about it in a way that creates positive debate or progressive debate type of thing. And I think I kind of know what you mean by you don't necessarily want these books to be your legacy, but are you happy that if these are the 3 books you ever released, I know your third one hasn't been released yet, but for the sake of argument, it's released. If all 3 are out, would you consider that a great legacy for yourself?
I consider it already a legacy, even without the third book out.
Amazing. That's good to hear. No, I'm glad you do see that, and I hope you do get that third book soon. I mean, depending on how badly this question is seen in years to come. What's stopping you from getting that third book out?
Kickstarter, I guess. I haven't started it yet.
Right, Ejen, after this podcast, you get on Kickstarter and you write that post. You tell me, you give me that link, and I'll spread it, and I'll put my money down for it, man. I'll put money down for it.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
Hey, I should be supporting you a lot more and a lot, earlier in your career, and I think
But
better late than never. Um, I honestly, you're a person that I look up to. Drop you a message every so often, see if you're doing all right. I respect you a lot, and I remember that time at New York Comic Con. I was looking for you at Comic Con. Oh, where are you? Where are you? And then you're behind a wig store of all places, a wig store. Like, oh, and I
yep,
think you were saying you were just
cosplay
helping out.
wigs.
Yeah, I think you said you were like helping a friend out and things like that. And I just remember your smile. You're so friendly, and I think if those books are not your legacy, this that my image of you should be your legacy. And let's leave it on a happier note. Let's leave it on a happier. I know you said you're going to retreat a bit more onto the online world, but are you still looking forward to like maybe going to a local Comic Con nearby you or within the same state as you?
I'm still going to conventions, but I'm just pulling back because I used to do 15, 20, something like that. I'm
Mm,
thinking more like 3 a year now, maybe 2.
yeah.
So
No, I totally get. But you will and do still get excited about going to these events, right?
I do. That's what keeps me going, honestly,
Mm,
because the one true thing that sticks around me, that stayed around me, or that's been a constant in my life is cosplay. Everything
mm,
else has changed. My career's changed. My health's changed. My living conditions change.
mm.
You know, my budget's changed.
Yeah. Jesus, tell me about the budget. Jesus Christ.
you know, so
Um. Yeah. No, no, I totally
we,
get you.
one of these days,
Uh,
we do a show where we interview you, where the guest gets to
yeah. If
interview you.
you can interview me, I'm happy. I'm an open book. I'll welcome that. Yeah, I definitely welcome if someone wants to interview me.
I think you should get a bunch
Um.
of people on your show, and then everybody interviews you, like one question.
Well, I kind of do that for my birthday podcast. I do a birthday. I've done two birthday podcasts where I pick two guests who I feel like will be quite chatty, and they interview me. Like they ask me questions about either opinions about this or things I do under the Food and Cosplay name, and go from there. Really, I'm half already figured out who I'm going to get for that one. I also did a on the 100th episode. I got someone else to interview me about I think they interviewed me plus like they did something special as well. So that was cool and that was fun. But um yeah, I really I no, I would actually enjoy being interviewed on my own podcast. It'd be weird that says Ed talks about Eddie, something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
does
Really,
about Andy. Why not? Like, like for me, I would like to
yeah.
know like how you've changed over the past 15 years.
I mean, if you listen to all 140 odd episodes that I've already released, you'll probably hear it in my voice, and all the story anecdotes that I've plopped into the podcast. And yeah, no, it'd be quite interesting. I would like to do a proper dedicated podcast about
Yeah.
my my journey through it, because I I keep saying last year was going to be the last year of being food and cosplay, but I've now done a U-turn like our former Prime Minister Liz Truss, the amount of U-turn she did. She no, not she, I um I'm so synonymous with that name, and everyone knows who I am. There was no point in me ending it. Still turned up to Comic Con and go, "Hey, the food and cosplay guy." I went, "Oh,
Do you
people
get that a
still."
lot?
Pardon?
Do you get that? Do people just say food and cosplay guy?
I think sometimes, yeah, sometimes I do get the tap on the shoulder every so often. They go, "Oh, are you that Eddie from Food and Cosplay?" Yes. How have I offended you this time? What have I said? I'm so sorry. That's generally my reaction, and it's quite disturbing, I think, for everyone.
Who have you been
Um,
mistaken for before?
every Asian photographer there. Oh, are you that paper cube? Are you that LPC photography? Are you? I've been confused with a an English white photographer somehow. I've said this story before, and I'll say it again. Basically, this cosplay came up to me, and she goes, "I think we're booked for a shoot," and I went, "I'm not in London. This is Manchester. There's no way I've booked a shoot with you." I said, how do you know you got a book shoot with me? You seem to like. She seemed so confident that I'm the right person. So I went, okay, let's see. We got a message because yeah. Showed me the message, and it was a photo of me, but I was standing next to said white photographer with his name and everything, and I went, no, you need looking for this guy. I bumped him later in the Comic-Con. I said to her, why the fuck did you use the selfie that I sent you of us and you sent it to that guy? She came and found me. Anyway. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm going to have you have the last word on the podcast about cosplay in America. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about, and I hope it's a positive future. What do you see cosplay in America, be it tomorrow, next week, whatever? How do you see it going forward?
I have no idea. When I started this, I had no idea what I was doing. And now 10, 15 years later, I still don't know what I'm doing. But I will say that I personally think Cosplay America is David DT Jam, because he basically is doing the work.
He's definitely doing the work, and like I said, I need to get him on the podcast one of these days and talk to him about what he does. Maybe you can put in a good word for me. You put in a good word for me, all right?
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent. And on that note, I'm going to end the podcast. Ejen, thank you very much for being on the podcast. Thank you for being very open and very frank about everything of yourself and your brand Cosplay in America. If people do want to find you on the social medias and follow your work, how can they do that?
If they go to my website cosplayamerica.com, there's a link that goes to all the social medias. Yep.
Yeah. And don't forget, when book 3 comes, I implore you to all back this book, not only to clear his debts, but also clear his conscience. I don't know why I said that, but it will clear something.
Yes, please help me out. Help me out.
If you want to follow me on social media, if you go to foodandcosplay.org/links, you'll find all my social media links there. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find other podcasts that I've made with this guy and every other cosplayer that I probably know under the sun. With different subject. Apologies to Stella Chu. We did try to get you on the podcast, but we'll get you on the next one. If you go to foodandcosplay.org, generally you'll find daily cosplay photos and articles that I'm writing. If you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, you'll find some way to pay. If you like this podcast, you want to pay me, there's a monthly thing there. But I think if you go to the links one, there's a Ko-fi account which you can just do a one-off payment. Every pound counts. That's all. Honestly, that's what if you can, that'd be great. If you can't, that's not an issue. Thank you very much, Ejen, for being on the podcast. It's been thrilling to talk to you and chat to you. We should do this again soon. I have to get you on a proper subject title, really, rather than talking about yourself. And it's always good to chat to you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Excellent. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, and Ejen's going to say goodbye. So, bye, guys.
Hello. This is the start of the show, right?
No.
I thought we're starting the show now. Okay,
no.
Welcome. This is Eddie from Food and Cosplay.